Hey, I'm Craig. I'm what happens when a gateway kid is babysat by MK Ultra and has everybody but their mom babysit them for the rest of their life. But anywho, yes, I'm wearing the same shirt from yesterday. I had an interesting message earlier, and they were saying that they can't get along with anybody and no one understands them. So what I'm going to do is I'm making this job specifically so you can make friends. Okay, so the common equation has existed for eons. Is I need y'all to, and not me personally, this is, what the world says. I need you to breed early. That way you don't raise your kids right. Because, like, at the same time, your sense of self-worth, your ability, and your spiritual development used to be dependent upon your parents. But when babies are having babies, none of those values are instilled whatsoever. So you have a bunch of little insecure shits running around that learn how to party when they're teenagers and end up getting an early heartbreak. So by the time they're 20, they enter the workforce just a hair and then get into their first real serious relationship. So now they're messed up from partying as a teenager and all the trauma that goes along with that. So by the time they're in their mid-20s, they get that first real solid heartbreak while they're out on their own kind of deal. By this time, they've, estranged themselves from their parents, from their, babies having babies, and then the whole party scene separates you even further out. So you're super isolated at this point. So by the time you're in your 30s, you should be doing one of three things. You're either working a job you hate just to scrape by and doing what you can to find happiness, dating somebody that is incapable of fulfilling your needs emotionally, spiritually, or even physically for you guys that don't really know what you're doing. So at that point, like, you're either working your life away, getting no satisfaction in an empty relationship, or you're in and out of the justice system, or by this time you're so emotionally and spiritually broken that you're on a plethora of medication and on disability, and or just so traumatized you can't function. By the time you hit your early 40s, if you're lucky, you've already fallen into a toxic rut pattern that you can't seem to get out of. And every time you pull your head right above water where you learn how to float kind of deal, you get knocked right back the hell down. And these are all for the people that are like middle class and below. This is not a talk for you rich folks that are in Bali laughing at us kind of thing. So at that point, since everyone is just doing what they can at this point in their timeline, by the time this time frame passes, no one understands them. You don't really have time to bond in a real way. Plus, this particular pattern of development leaves you internally bereft of character. Like, if you really stop for a second and get honest with yourself of like, who am I? What do I want? What do I stand for? Hell, what do I like? Why am I with you? Yeah, check it out. You didn't have an answer to any of that, and I bet you didn't realize it. So, here's the thing about that. I can make another video on how to answer those questions, but hopefully pointing out the pattern just gave you common ground with everyone that you actually know now. And that's a good bonding point, because I don't know about you, but there's been a lot of times I've sat in jail or a psych ward or just a bad family spat, and it sucked bad enough that it just lightly trauma bonded you to everyone around you. So this is a good starting place to make a friend if you'll show them this video, and you can laugh and then relate to each other in a really dark way to where you can actually start having friends now. You're very welcome. Talk to you later. Love you guys.